What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. This one's called The Will, and it's a dialogue between Matias and his higher self, so I'd be referring to Matias as me and to his higher self as I am. You can also find this post on Matias de Stefano's blog, yosoy.red, and there you'll find all of the posts in sequence. However, I do have a few of them that you can listen to on my Matias de Stefano's education playlist on my channel. That being said, let's get started. The will. Me. When you reminded everyone in the lineup yesterday that the sacred food is forgiveness, I could realize what that concept really meant. In many religions, this exists, but in different ways of looking at it. This post came right after The Willing, which talked about forgiveness, so I'd recommend you check that one out first. The Will. Me. When you reminded everyone in the lineup yesterday that the sacred food is forgiveness, I could realize what that concept really meant. In many religions, this exists, but in different ways of looking at it. From the Christian religion, the concept forgiveness is to forgive the evil or mistake that another person has committed, which maintains the idea that there's a victim and a predator, a guilty and an innocent. But actually, it doesn't work like that. Me. These concepts are moral or ethical versions of the one who lacks something and the one who possesses something. As we speak with atoms, one has something that the other needs. If I am willing to give, naturally and by the law of balance, I will receive what I need. You have turned this into a form of social values in which the one who needs is poor and the one who has is rich. And to this, you have added an emotional concept that whoever is missing something can seek to steal it from you and make the mistake, the sin, and whoever has will be the victim. Although now you can also see that the atom that has the most strength can steal the one that also has the least and leave it with nothing. In a moral vision, the act of taking something from the other, whether you are full or lacking, is what creates the perspective of victim and predator. So the concept that you used to know as give and receive, as energy exchange, is transformed into the moral concept of blame or forgive. Your entire system of values, of justice, of the search for balance, is based on this. Anyone who has made a mistake must repay society for said mistake or failure by asking for forgiveness or being arrested. And the decision to forgive this person or not is in the morality of the victimizer. But the truth is that whoever commits an injury does so in the face or lack of necessity. And I'm not talking about just a needy poor man, but also a powerful man who has lost his self-love, control, narcissism, paternalism, the character of superiority. All this is also the product of a personal lack. Me. So what is needed to balance this? That we all learn to give, so the circuit would come into harmony? I am. It is normal for humans to be somewhat suspicious of dar. I'm not sure what dar is. Could be a typo. Yeah. It says dar, but I'm thinking maybe dharma or anyway. I am. It is normal for humans to be somewhat suspicious of dar because all human history has served to survive. And to survive winter, you must work hard in summer and accumulate reserves that allow us to travel through the cold comfortably and safely. And the first that we will protect will be our own, the family. Therefore, we have created a vision of accumulation. We have first accumulated food, then wealth, then accumulated emotions, pain, grudges, then information. And thus we continue trying to make ourselves masters of things, people, and emotions, trying to control them and make them our own. The concept of giving without expecting anything in return goes against all biology. No atom or cell will lose anything. You always seek to complete the circuit. Otherwise, it's a failure. However, when you wake up and become conscious, you recognize that life is infinite and still you will die. And nothing that you accumulate you will be able to take with you. And therefore, it does not make sense to accumulate, but to live what you have. Thus, when from unconsciousness you accumulate for fear of losing, in consciousness you recognize that by giving you make it all yours, because now the world belongs to you in one extensive chain of giving and receiving. Me. It's almost like a barter. I am, yes, but don't get me wrong, it has nothing to do with an economic system, but with a value system. It does not imply material goods, but human attitudes. Many confuse this circuit with communism, socialism, or medieval barter. But in reality, thinking that is like believing that a tree should be the same as grass so that everyone has the same possibilities of giving and receiving. No, on the contrary, each one has its way of doing it. Some grow more than others, but all deliver, bear fruit, release oxygen, create nutrients, home and food for the forest. Me, I understand. I am. And this is when in consciousness we heal our relationship with the word forgiveness. As I said, forgiveness comes from the concept to give, which in a certain way means let go. Free yourself and the other from a prejudice. However, it goes much further. And it has to do with the fact that forgiveness is not forgetting, but rather the delivery of a potential, the potential of free generation. Start a new cycle again. It is using duality not as opposition, but as complementary. Humans have dualized everything in your lives to the point of believing that dual is opposite, when it's not. For a bicycle to advance, you need two pedals. For a tree to bear fruit, you need roots on one side and leaves on the other. For a baby to be born, you need an egg and a sperm. Duality is the engine, giving and receiving. Me. Forgiveness allows me to remain free on the path of life. I am. Withholding my judgment generates the oxidation of my duality, stopping the machinery, generating sparks that you will call rancor, rage, anger, which will try to be processed by your liver and your gallbladder. And when you fail to clean the physical, the information will pass into the waters of your body, and your kidneys will try to purge this emotion. But if you still do not succeed, frustration will appear, and with it, the fear of its repetition. Forgiveness is a form of energy. It is giving up what I have in me, recognizing the importance of it, and freely, without expecting anything in return, I let go of the control of the energy that was holding in me. When you manage to forgive, you go from the animal stage of biological survival to the spiritual stage of consciousness of being. Well, as I said, your prehistoric brain seeks to accumulate to satisfy its needs, without realizing that by giving, sharing what little I have, I increase my chances of receiving more from many others. The stingy will have things. The one who delivers will have opportunities. Me, thus, forgiveness ceases to be a way of forgetting the lack of the sinner and becomes a delivery of possibilities for the sinner to become a useful agent. It is an exchange of energy. There is the challenge of victimarios. Me, change the concept of forgiveness. I am, and for this, they need to reactivate the machinery. Me, and how is it done? I am, well, in what way can you light a fire to generate energy in your body and get the gears turning again? Me, I need a lot of energy, the Kundalini. I am, and being in a physical world, how do you activate the Kundalini? Me, from the energies that are in my body, all the emotions together. I am, and where are the emotions, the energies of your body? Me, all these data are in the cells, plasma, in the water of my body, in the energy of the electrons that form me. I am, and where do these electrons get their potentiality from? Me, from the combination of new chemical compounds which are mixed in the body. I am. And how do you get these elements? Me, eating, drinking, digesting, by absorbing nutrients in the kidneys and intestines. I am in the water chakra, in the sacred, the sea of inner creation. Me, which is ruled by the adrenal glands. I am, which taking all the potential of this energy that your kidney and intestines generate when absorbing new potentiality, activate what? Me, adrenaline, the hormone that gives energy and power to the body, the one that makes us act, have strength, push forward. I am what for the soul is called will. Me, so the kidney, me, so the key to forgiveness is in the will. Two concepts I would never have related she considered that forgiveness was in the heart, not in the kidneys. I am. Humans always believe that beauty is in the heart and shit is in the intestines. It is like thinking that it is the economist of the central bank who feeds you, and not the peasants who get muddy every day to harvest food in the field. Me, it makes sense. I am. The act of forgiving from unconsciousness is interpreted from the heart because it makes us believe that we are kind to the sinner. However, forgiveness goes further. It implies taking action, acting with the will to give myself to the service, to make the sinner become a coherent actor in the chain of giving and receiving. That which acts in dissonance is because it has not found harmony. Imagine the piano. Think that each key of the piano, the 88, are people. So there are very low and dense notes and very high and subtle notes. We all tend to ignore both in the same way that we tend to avoid overly positive people because they upset us, and overly pessimistic people because they sink us. So we usually stay in the center of the keyboard with more balanced people, we could say. In the same way that we had measured the amount of loose protons in a compound, that is, the pH on a scale of 14 levels, the middle, around 7, 6, 7, and 8, are the midpoints of equilibrium useful for life. But if we go to extremes, base amount on one side or acidic on the other, will create a toxic environment for life. So we usually avoid those notes or items as much as possible. And when one of them sounds, it creates dissonance, which we commonly call error, which in Latin is said peccata, that is to say sin, for which in English we take the other Latin origin, sontis, which means guilty. Now, if we decide to forgive from our current concept to this note that has caused a serious event for us because of its sound, or the one that has generated a sharp pain in our life, we would therefore be forgetting the note, never to touch it again. And the truth is that this person will not change with my forgiveness. He will continue to exist, being someone with all the weight of his actions. Me. So that forgiveness doesn't really liberate. I am, of course not. It's just a moral and emotional placebo. The note still exists, so ignoring her is not a solution. The solution is to give her a purpose in the melody of life. So I'll use them for the society song, and I do it by giving all of myself, what I have inside, to activate their purpose, making them recognize that they have something that I do not, and that I have something that they don't have. And this implies moving my hands over the piano to the extreme, getting out of my comfort as a victimizer, and caressing their cheeks, making them participate in the music. And that movement is called will. I use the energy that I consumed to be given to those who have lost their purpose by giving them one. Forgiveness is not demonstrated in words, but in actions. Me, in other words, one of the great shortcomings of humanity is not only a question of forgiveness, but of will. And I must say, it costs me myself. It is easier to sit back and relax in the comfort of the sofa or bed than it is to get up and do something. Cost. It's like the typical thing we do. On Monday, I start the diet. This week, I start the gym. I'm going to go help someone. I have to study for the exam. They are the typical things in life that involve will, and they are already difficult for us. Imagine saying, I'm going to pick up the phone to talk to that person who fought me. I am going to find a way to solve that conflict that was pending. I'm going to confront my enemies, to release this tension that I carry inside. It's very difficult. I am. I don't doubt it. It takes time. The lack of will is the sample of human conformity to conflicts. Believe that there will always be someone else to do it for us, a teacher, a father or a mother, a politician, an NGO, a scientist. The responsibility is always delegated in an attempt to save the most energy in the individual. Thus, forgiving does not apply only between the victim and the perpetrator, but must also apply to oneself. Forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself is probably one of the hardest things to do because we never consider ourselves guilty but victims. And the truth is that whenever we leave something to do, whenever we deny facing the results of our actions, whenever we have to solve our conflicts, the human prefers not to do it and to sit and wait for a savior. It's easier to be the victim, to forgive oneself. That is to say, condescendingly, I did not know what I was doing. Now I understand better. No. To forgive is to stand up and take action, resolve, put energy into operation, use emotion in favor of generation of something new that fixes the old. Me, I understand. And how can I start doing it? I am. Well, the first step is to recognize what I do not forgive myself. Then acknowledge what you do not forgive others. Write it down, make it visible, tangible, physical, and then remembering that the way in which the will is activated is through the pulse of adrenaline. Then you have to purify the body. Start drinking more water and less sugars. And in each glass or bottle of water, put an intention: will, love, wisdom, forgiveness, freedom, consciousness, clarity. For example, one concept per day. You can think about it by looking at the water, or much better, say it to the water before drinking it. I am will, I am love, etc. Thus, its molecules will be ordered according to this new tuning and will transmit this information to the water inside you. And the next step will be food. Start thinking of the things you eat with guilt. Dead animals that have felt pain, anguish, despair, for example. This blocks your inner strength. Change your diet, slowly, step by step, throughout a year. Never ever choose Monday to start your diet. Me, because I am. Because for your body, it is like parachuting out of an airplane. Excitement indeed lasts as long as it takes to hit the ground. Then you don't, I'm gonna say have sex again, but that's not the word used. Then you don't have sex again for at least a long time. Take it like going for a 30-minute bike ride a day, little by little, slow and accessible. Me, I understand. I am. And when you have purified your body for a year, and you have changed your diet, all with the awareness that you are doing it to give yourself the willpower to act, rewrite what you must forgive in yourself and in others. And there, take action. Step by step, you will surrender, and you will give the best of yourself, and thus you will receive the best of others in the same way. Me, nothing more to say. Me, nothing more to say. I am. Nurture yourself. Purge yourself. Forgive yourself. Take action. And forgive others by giving them a purpose in your life and in their lives. Me, I will, for I am will.